To get you going this morning. Well, it is hard to believe looking at Adrian now, but he barely made it through his first week of life. It was thanks to the incredible team at their neonatal intensive care unit at Foothills Hospital who saved him. Adrian's parents, John and Michelle Downey, join me now, along with Adrian's NICU physician, Dr. Sumish Thomas. Good morning to you all. Thank you so much for being here. This is an incredible story, so let's start with you, Michelle. Tell us what happened when you were in labor with Adrian.
Well, I guess it wasn't your typical labor. My water broke and I was misdiagnosed, and that was at just shy of 37 weeks. And so I went to my gynecologist. We went into the hospital, they sent us home. So I went to my gynecologist, and she sent me back to the hospital with this long list of tests that they had to perform. So it turned out my water had broke and I was induced. And then I wasn't progressing, so they contemplated doing a C-section a couple times. We're like, no, Adrian was doing just fine, so we kept going. And then he dropped into the birth canal at 7 or 8 centimeters. Yes, another train, that's right, sweetie. And so he, and then his blood pressure started to go and his heart rate started to go funny. So they ended up vacuuming him out. And somewhere along the line, he suffered a subgaleal bleed. Is that the right terminology?
Subgaleal.
Subgaleal bleed, yes.
What is that?
So the way that I understand it is it was a bleed between the skin and the head. So it wasn't under the skull. Okay. It was kind of between. And it was at the top of his head here.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, so I gotta make sure I get this right.
Of course.
But they didn't know what was going on until he went into cardiac arrest when he was 3 hours old.
Terrifying.
So because my water had broken, we knew that Adrian was going to go straight to the NICU to get tests for infection.
Right.
And he was very, very pale.
Right.
And so they were running all the tests, and they couldn't figure out why he was pale, and then he went into cardiac arrest.
Terrifying.
Yeah.
John, what was this like for you as a family that first week when you spent all that time in NICU and it was so scary?
It was a really difficult time for us. So largely it was kind of a roller coaster between stages of grief and hope for the most part. So because we didn't know if we'd be bringing Adrian home.
Right.
So probably it was essentially just that. It was a very wild ride between grieving for our living child,
right,
and then hoping we might bring him home in a vegetative state, and then eventually coming to a point where we thought we'd be bringing him home severely disabled, and then to where we are now, where he's very, very much minimally impacted.
Yeah, it's incredible. He's doing so well these days. Dr. Thomas, can you tell us how well he's doing and where he's at? Or we know he's...
Well, I think his parents have sort of demonstrated many times to us how well he's doing, and I think he's got the most amazing parents to bring the best out of him. So
yes, isn't that true?
It's really good to see how he's done.
So the reason we're talking about this today is because of Mother's Day Run, Walk, and Ride, and of course all the funds raised at the Mother's Day Run, Walk, and Ride, or the majority of them anyway, go to NICUs. And what sort of impact does that have, Dr. Thomas, for what you do on a daily basis?
Well, it's really crucial for us because we are, a relatively young specialty, a high sort of technology-based specialty, and so we've moved away over the last 20 years from looking at just survival to looking at survival with the best outcomes. And we recognize that there are a multitude of factors which influence that. And, the environment which these children are looked after is a big piece of that.
Of course.
And, that's why we're very grateful for, the donations of the Frozzani Foundation, who have raised more than $2 million over the last 10 years,
It's incredible.
And that's the money that goes towards creating the right sort of environment and the optimal sort of situation to bring the best out of...
the best outcome, for sure, for all of these kids that go there.
Right.
All right, well, let's tell you about this event so you can maybe help out. We're looking at the 40th Annual Sport Check Mother's Day Run, Walk, and Ride. It's at Chinook Center, Sunday, May 14th. Registration is on right now, so do what you can, certainly, to help out, because it's families like these that are going to be benefiting. Thank you all so much for being here this morning.
Thank you.
Thank you. Let's head back out to Winsport.